Damos lugar ahora al octavo y último panel de este tercer Congreso Internacional de Derecho para la Minería. Este panel es sobre inversión de la República Popular China en Argentina. Modera este panel Matías Olcese. Matías es abogado, especializado en Derecho minero, corporativo, M&A y financiero. Focaliza su práctica en la industria minera, inversiones, financiamiento y desarrollo de proyectos. Matías es socio del estudio Mitrani, Caballero y Ruiz Moreno, donde colidera la práctica de minería. Muchas gracias.
Hola, hola. Bueno, ante todo, una pequeña aclaración. Vamos a tratar de llevar, y esto estaba aclarado en la invitación, a llevar el panel en inglés y un poco en castellano. Así que vamos a tratar de ir pivoteándolo. Primero voy a hacer las presentaciones, que las puedo hacer en castellano. A la derecha está Jason Lugo de Ganfeng Lithium. Jason es geólogo y ha estado trabajando en la industria minera por más de 17 años en China, Canadá y Argentina. Actualmente él cumple el rol de presidente y CEO de Ganfeng Lithium Argentina, donde lidera 3 proyectos en etapa de construcción. Aquí al lado mío está Bob Xu, de la compañía CLUBminero. Él tiene 40 años, cuenta con una licenciatura en gestión de la información y es superintendente de CLUBminero. En el medio está David Chen, que es Vice President de la compañía Xinjiang, que también tiene intereses en proyectos de litio en el NOA. Hecha esta pequeña introducción, vamos a darle pie para que nos cuenten cada uno de ellos a ver sus compañías, qué tipo de activos están operando en Argentina. Now I'm going to switch to English and I will ask you guys, could you give us a brief overview of what your company is doing in Argentina, what type of projects are operating?
Okay, buenos tardes a todos. My name is Jason. I came from Ganfeng Lithium. So as we know, like Ganfeng Lithium is originally come from China, and right now we have we started from China, but right now we have business in many countries, in Africa, in Mali, and in Australia, Ireland, Mexico, and right now here in Argentina. So for Ganfeng, we don't recognize ourselves only as a lithium producer, but right now Ganfeng is the second largest lithium producer in the world. And what we are really looking for, we are pursuing is to have the whole ecosystem. So you see, for Ganfeng's business in the upstream, we have the lithium mines, spodumene, clay, and brine. So we process all type of lithium minerals, and then we convert this into lithium compound, and we have all type of lithium compound. And after that, we have the battery business, and we have battery business for consumable electronics, and also for EV cars, and also for energy storage. And after that, at the end, we have we call everybody know urban mining, and which is to recycle the retired battery. So that is we call it the ecosystem here. And so right now here in Argentina, we started our business since 2011. We started from one project, a joint venture project with a Western company. And right now we have 4 projects. One is a Cauchari project in Hubei province. We JV with Lithium America, and it's in production right now. The second project we have is in Salta province, Mariana, in construction. Third is PPG, and we plan to start the construction next year. And one project in Kawasi, Arizaro, and in exploration stage. So yeah, I'll stop here. Yeah. Okay.
Hi, good afternoon. I'm David Chen from Qingshan. Qingshan is a Chinese company headquartered in Shanghai, and we are a Fortune 500 company. We are global #1 in terms of nickel and stainless steel, and our revenue last year was over $55 billion US. But in terms of lithium, especially upstream, we are quite new. So right now in Argentina, we have 2 projects. One is it's a joint venture called Aramini. We are partnering with the French company Aramet in Salta. And secondly, we have we are building a chemical project in Jujuy, which will be supplying caustic soda and hydrochloric acid, which are the very important raw material for the lithium project development. Thank you.
Okay. Now you both, whatever you feel more comfortable with, either Spanish, English, a mixture.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Bueno, buenas tardes. Me llamo Bob Xu, soy superintendente de Zijin Liex. Y Zijin Grupo viene de China, claro. Y la más fuerza de Zijin Grupo es oro, cobre y zinc y plata. Y la inversión en Argentina por el litio también es el primer proyecto que Zijin Grupo invertir en Argentina, también en área del litio. Y el Zijin Grupo en todo el mundo hay 16 proyectos grandes y como más que 53.000 empleados. Y ahora el proyecto en 3 quebradas, provincia de Catamarca. Y luego en el año 2022 llegamos y recién con 2 años de construcción. Esperamos en ese fin de año iniciamos a producir de 20.000 toneladas. Bueno.
Gracias. Gracias. Well, now a couple of questions to Jason. You operate different projects here in Argentina. Mm-hmm. You already have a track record built. What are the main challenges that you have faced so far that you can, comment on?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we have different projects in different countries. Each country, they have their own challenges. So here, I would categorize the challenge in Argentina into 2 categories. The first one is some challenges, you need to take time. And it's for example, the infrastructures and the industry systems and the suppliers, contractors, talents. So this is totally different from for example, to do the construction in China. In China, you do the engineering at high level. And then because they have a very comprehensive industry system, you make a phone call, say, hey guys, I need some steels tomorrow, then they deliver by tomorrow. But in Argentina, it's different. And you have have very good planning and very good engineering and move into all the details. So the contractors can follow on that. And the other challenges infrastructures, in other countries, maybe you have some better infrastructure, but in the north part of Argentina, it's quite challenging. And you have railway, but it has not been really used for many years. And also the natural gas pipeline and the electricity power line. So those infrastructures and those mining companies, we have to invest, or we have to work with other peers in the industry to do that. So that's something you have to take time. The second category of a challenge, I would say, is something we can change immediately. Something everybody knows the restriction, the inflation, and also I don't call it restriction. I call it's kind of a control of the import, export, and also bring the money in, bring money out. Those more related to the economic, political sectors, reasons. So those things maybe could be dealt relatively short term. But I think those 2 challenges, they are correlated to each others. And if we have more open market and better investing environment, and then we can bring more resource to reinvest in Argentina and help to deal with the first challenge, which is to invest in the infrastructure and training the talents and others. Yeah.
Thank you. David, identify any specific features in Argentina that make the difference to doing business or investment in other countries? Any advantages or disadvantages that you have identified so far?
people here are very friendly, and football is very good. Yeah, actually, I got this souvenir from the football game con mi amigos in last weekend. So, China didn't even make it into the World Cup finals. So right now we are playing against the World Cup champions. Anyway, back to your question. We find out that doing business in Argentina, like Jason mentioned, had a lot of challenges and opportunities as well. So far so good. Actually, we find out, the people here are very friendly, and but for the Chinese companies who come here, especially the first time, who have never been here before, I mean, the language and cultural barriers seems to be kind of huge because, I understand a lot of people here in this room speak English. Now you understand what I'm talking about. But outside of this room, actually, not many people speak English. Well, so it means that I have to study Espanol. Yo necesito. Anyway, it's every country has these challenges and advantages. And doing business here, we think, especially Tsingshan is a multinational company. We have been doing business in many other countries, in Asia, in Africa, in India, even in the United States. And we find everywhere people are basically the same. We are pursuing the same things, the same values. Everybody wants to get a job, get things done, but the difference is like how you get things done from point A to point B, right? So maybe different countries have different approaches, especially, well, different president would have different strategies. Like, so we will not comment on that. But what I'm trying to say is that we are adaptable. I mean, Chinese companies or Tsingshan, we are ready for this. We come to this new country. We understand the risk, just like playing football. It's similar to doing business here. So far, so good.
Good. And for you, Bob, o en español para vos, okay. ¿Qué tan complicado o fácil ha sido, justamente tomando las palabras de David, esta brecha cultural? Digamos, ¿ha sido complicado, fácil? ¿Se han podido insertar bien en la sociedad? ¿Nos puedes comentar un poco?
La verdad, para nosotros, para Zijin Grupo, como culture shock o choque de cultural no es tan difícil. Desde el año 2022, cuando instalar este proyecto, traemos los trabajadores, bueno, los compañeros chinos, de más de 7 o 8 países, de África, Australia, Europa, como varios lugares. Entonces, cuando llega, toda la gente tiene experiencia a cómo tratar un extranjero, especialmente en Latinoamérica. Cuando llega acá, nos encantan los asados, vinos y, y también fútbol. Solamente, como igual que lo que dice el señor Jason, tiene que tener más paciencia. La verdad, tenemos otro proyecto en Tíbet. Instalamos al mismo tiempo en Tíbet, pero también es otro proyecto de dependimiento de litio. Ya el proyecto en China ya está listo, usando 1 año y pico. ¿Verdad? Está listo. Aquí todavía esperando CIRA, importación, todos los programas que todos saben, ¿sí? Entonces, ok, volvemos a la pregunta de culture shock. So far, so good.
I just want to add on that. Actually, for example, a lot of people talk about a foreign exchange control here, but actually, when we grow up in China, like 30 years ago, or even nowadays, there's still a lot of foreign exchange control in China. For example, every individual, like me or my family, every year they can only go to the bank to exchange like $50,000 for the personal purposes. So, and back to 20 years ago, you can imagine the situation could be only worse. But I mean, every country has its stage of development and its strategy of dealing the different issues. So okay, just to add on that.
No, thank you. Please feel free to jump in and make any clarifications. The idea is to try to have this as smooth as possible. Jason, you comment before about the challenges that you have faced so far, and what, in your view, can be improved here? What in order to foster foreign investments? Not only, I mean, from your company perspective, but representing a foreign investor, what can be done at a local level to foster?
As like you see, like I'll talk about like one another point. Like first, like Chinese company like it's slightly from like some Western companies. In Western companies, like they have like a very active like a capital like a market. So they have different like level of investment, juniors or like very seniors. Chinese, like when we make the investment, most of them they are like very big companies, Ganfeng, Qingshan, Zhijin, all very big companies. So for those big companies, when we look at like when we decide where we go, where we invest, like we have like different like options: Africa, South America, Mexico, Argentina. We want some like certainties. So we need to like to prove to the shareholders, say, okay, we can guarantee we will like have the business here. It's not say, okay, we come here and we will be dead in 3 years. That's not the case. So to have this kind of like a guarantee and confidence, what we need is like we need a consistent like a policy. We need if we see a government like they are transparent and we have like very like inconsistent like a policy and encourage the foreign investment, and we will feel good. And meanwhile, we will do the calculation and numbers, and it's good. And we will also like to analyze like if the community and the provincial government pro-mining. And so what we see here in Argentina, this part is pretty good, pro-mining. So if we see if we can have like even more clear message or clear law, and to say not everybody, the market and investors understand this is like the market. This is like a stable market, it should come. And I think that will help a lot. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. David, any comment on what can be done to improve the situation, or any suggestion that you think we should, work that way to? Right. If we implement this measure of these things are fixed, you surely will get more investment that you're currently doing.
Well, it's when Chinese people are invited to a asado party, right? Usually we would only say Rico, no matter how it is. So Chinese people, we are not that. We are a little bit subtle and indirect in terms of giving feedbacks. Maybe we would say, oh, Rico, but you know what? I have an auntie in China who has a secret recipe of making the best salad. And if you don't mind, I can share the recipe for you. And so here, maybe this is a piece of like a recipe. It's not like finger pointing or lecturing, but it's more like, when we look at, for example, lithium, we are all in lithium business. The biggest producing country in the world of lithium is Australia. Then when you want to catch up as a country, it's natural that you will want to compare with the leader in the industry and compare, for example, Australia and Argentina. And maybe when you want to compare nickel, that's Indonesia. When you talk about gold, probably like Canada will be a good mining country as well. Then you compare different country jurisdictions, like how they treat the foreign investments, how easy it is for the money to get in and for the dividends to get out. How many days do they spend on approving the various kinds of permits? How is the infrastructure, and etc. How efficiency is the regulator or the government, etc. There are many areas that you can make this kind of comparison. Once you do that, I think the answers are self-evident.
Okay. Bob, when it comes to doing business, do you see or do you think that Chinese entities have a different drivers or different ways of approaching investments in comparison to, I don't know, US, Australian, or Canadian companies? Is there any different way of coming into a business, or it should not make any difference at all?
Can I pass this question to Mr. Law?
Okay.
Thank you, Bob.
To me, like our two Ganfeng, and we don't see much difference. I think like all the business, like finally you need to see this like from the commercial perspective. So all the shareholders, like from China, from Western, what they ask is the same. Like first, you make money, and second, you have like a sustain like a business, and the third, you have to make some win-win with the stakeholders and in the country, especially for mining. So from those things, I think like we don't have like a different like a sense on the commercial side. And actually, for Ganfeng, we work with many JV with many Western companies, and in Argentina we JV with Lithium America from North America, and in Africa we JV with Leo Lithium from Australia, and in Australia itself, and we JV with local companies. So we work fine, and we don't see much difference. Of course, we have difference. Like sometimes we use chopstick, and others use forks. But from business point, I think like it's quite similar.
I need to ask you up.
Okay.
How do you engage with local communities? What are, I don't know, the lessons learned, experiences that you can share with us? Can you comment on how the company, Zijin, engages with local communities and other stakeholders?
Okay. Actually, bueno, actualmente Zijin Grupo con la comunidad local y gobierno local tenemos muy buenas relaciones. Primero, agradecer mucho. Los argentinos son muy amigables. No tienen tanto como races. Usted sabe si, yo tengo que decir, si usted hace inversión en Europa, es difícil. La gente de Europa no tan como amigable como los argentinos. Y cuando llega aquella, Canamarca y lejos como Fiambara es un lugar tradicional de arquitectura y falta recursos, falta trabajo y la gente quiere mejor vida. Y cuando llega a un grupo trae como tal 5 o 600 puestos de trabajo y más 1000 personas trabajando por esa empresa y también ganando un muy buen sueldo. Ese ayuda mucho a la comunidad y también apoya mucho a la educación, médicos, y también hacemos inversión más que $1,5 millones para la fábrica de vino y ayudar a los industriales locales. Por ese lado, creo que tenemos muy buena relación con local. Ese sí, también estamos apoyando más que 700 proveedores locales. Por ese lado, claro, hay, igual que usted dice, hay diferencia entre los dos culturales, pero con paciencia, con más comunicación. Todos tenemos todos deseamos, tenemos un mejor futuro y mejor vida, ¿sí? Si caminamos por todo lado, la comunidad, con la empresa, con el gobierno, tenemos beneficios igual y compartimos beneficios de desarrollo de minería. Yo creo que todo va a pasar bien. ¿Sí?
David, can you, I don't know,
Sure.
like to share how does Xinjiang engage?
Of course. No matter where Xinjiang goes, I believe most of the other Chinese companies as well, we always spend a lot of time and effort to foster the relationship with the local community. The ESG, muy importante. And the Xinjiang's approach is that we would identify what would the local people need most. Like there's a Chinese saying, right? Instead of giving him fish, probably it's better to teach him how to fish. So in SALTA, we have a program to sponsor 5 to 10 students every year with full scholarship to go to China to continue the study. It could be a high school student, it could be a college student, or master or doctorate degree. So we think this way could be an example to show our determination of doing a long-term business here. We're here to stay, and we want to be the local partner. We want to blend in. We want to become part of local communities, and we want to help the local young talents to grow. And in one day, hopefully, they would return to Argentina and contribute more to the local community. So this is just an example, like the educational sponsorship. And of course, there are others because like Qingshan is partnering with Aramet. So the joint venture is called Aramini. And Aramini is doing a lot of stuff like the charity or the volunteering with the local community, the local schools. We sponsor the local sports team. We sponsor, we sometimes we teach some language lessons to the local school, etc. So various kinds of programs. The purpose, from what our understanding is that we think this country, in terms of natural resources, has a lot of potential. But in terms of the educational, I mean, Buenos Aires is very good. But there are still, in some areas in the country, I believe, some young people, young talents, there's a lot of potential for us to discover and really foster to make sure that the talents are not wasted.
Adding to that, is this way of engaging any different to what you see in other countries in which the company has investments, or it's something quite similar?
It's always the same. For example, in Indonesia, we already invested 2 mega industrial parks, and we are building number 3. Altogether, we already hired more than 100,000 local people, and a lot of them are young people. Indonesia has a large young population, and we also we build school, not just sponsorship like a scholarship, but also we build school, we build hospital, we build a church, not church, it's called mosques, and for them, and we pick the best performing young workers and students to further study in their career development in China, etc. So yes, we are doing a lot of things in many other countries as well. This has been our approach consistently across the world.
Jason, I don't know if you want to add anything.
I totally agree with Bob and David, and we're doing the same thing. Sponsor, help like the community, and also have training session. And one thing I would to add, like for example, like we think like to localize is like to be more international. What we mean is like we really like cherish our local team. You see in Ganfeng, in Huhui, we have like the owners team, like peak time we have 900 people. Now we have around like less than 800. In Salta, we have more than like 400. For the owners team in total, we have like more than 1,200 like employee. That's owners team, not including all the contractors. But in those like 1,200 employees, we only have like less than 30 Chinese, and then some Canadian, and some like from Venezuela, and it's more than 1,000 owners employee from the owners team, from local. So I think that's the best thing, like to localize our team. And finally, what we want to do is like finally we have the local team to operate the local projects. So that's how we want like to, beside all the sponsor or something, just like David said, like to teach the fish, not give the fish. Yeah.
The previous panel, and this, whoever wants to reply, in the previous panel, we were discussing about different alternatives of financing, and there were some bank officers at the local level. It is known, at least it is perceived by Argentinians, that Chinese companies have their own source of fundings, which sometimes are not dependent on the international markets, on raising funds in the ASX, in the TSX, or whatever. In your experience running a business in Argentina, the source of funding that you obtain in order to deploy into the local projects, how are they obtained? Do you use exclusively Chinese banks? Is this something that issuance of shares in the international capital markets? Can you, I don't know, give us an overview on that?
Yeah, for us, for Ganfeng, like Ganfeng is like a public traded company in Shenzhen Stock Exchange in China, and also Hong Kong Stock Exchange in China. So our main main channel for financing is like to raise money from the market, and also like we integrate like other ways like financing, like loan from the banks. And also other ways like is in Argentina, because of the some kind of like a restriction of the money flow. So we also like make some like a dollar link loan to borrow the pesos and the link to the US dollar exchange rate. And so pretty much we do like this. I think compared with some like Western companies, like one of the differences like the Western companies, sometimes they can like acquire the mineral asset project by shares. So for Chinese companies, more complicated on that part. We have to like acquire the project in all cash. That makes some difficulties. But besides that, yes, all the financing with what I mentioned. Yeah.
And I know we're running out of time, but one of the last questions, and how do you think that you are perceived by the local communities, by the Argentine community that you're doing business here? Do you have any perception about that?
Bobby, you want to start first?
Your turn. Lo que quieras. ¿Cómo crees que son las diferentes compañías chinas que están haciendo negocios en Argentina? ¿Cómo son percibidas por las comunidades?
Bueno, yo no puedo representar a todas las empresas chinas, solamente representar por el grupo. ¿Sí? Y también, no, bueno, esa pregunta para mí como Zijin Grupo es una empresa originalmente de China, pero cuando tenemos 15 países, hay proyectos, no pensamos somos una empresa china, somos una empresa internacional. Por ese lado no, ¿cómo te...
I don't know, Jason, David, if you want to expand on that.
How we are perceived by the local friends. Firstly, our football is not that good, right? So that's why here's a good example. It's sort of like stereotypes already, because not just in Argentina, but I used to study and work in the US, in the UK, and also work a lot of years in Hong Kong. I work in many Western companies before. The feeling that I get, not just from Argentina, is that Chinese people were regarded sort of like, good at math, quiet, conservative, humble. But in terms of business, when you really make a Chinese friend and look into a Chinese business, you will find out they're very focused, result-oriented. And in that sense, actually, I think some of the Western companies, including Argentine local companies, are not that different from Chinese as well. Because, as what I was reading, addressed a very, very famous Chinese investor called Shan Weijian. He said, China as a country is actually more capitalist than the United States or many Western countries, while many Western countries, including Argentina, is more socialist or communist than China in many sense. So, and on the other hand, when we read the Elon Musk biography, you will find out Tesla or SpaceX or some of the very leading Western companies, they are quite, there are a lot in common between the Chinese company and these kind of companies. Very focused, stay or result oriented, and use a lot of resources and technologies to get the results done. I mean, process is also very important, but when you don't generate a good result, the process doesn't make a lot of meaningful.
Okay.
So anyway, I think we are very lucky that we come here, first time here in this country, beautiful country, and make a lot of local friends. And I think I play football with them every week, and many of them think I and also us as a good friends of the local people as well. So hopefully this kind of relationship can last for much longer period.
Okay. Thank you very much, and I would like to especially thank you because I know that you flew from Salta to Catamarca to join us in this Congress. So a special thank to you. Y le pido a todos, por favor, un fuerte aplauso para ellos.